And at this point, I've actually done quite a lot with this little camera. Spoiler, I'm still trying to warm her into it. She's not a technology lover like I am. Welcome to Dad Tech. I have a review for you today. Hello and welcome. So I have some opinions on it. Spoiler, mostly positive. If any negative, there's a couple of things I might discuss. The bundle I got, I did an unboxing of it. Used it a whole bunch, but the Creator Combo is just an incredible value for money. And I probably actually watched too many videos on this thing. Reviews and all the different options, you know, the setting videos and just anything I can get my hands on about this. Because I just think it's so cool and it serves a lot of different purposes in our life, and I want to discuss that right now. Straight off the bat, what have I done with it? I've went on a hike, I've shot some interviews with it, I've given it to my wife to shoot some of her stuff. She obviously has a cake business, if you didn't know. I've given it to her a couple of times and I've shot her using it. The idea of getting it was actually, it could be a primary camera for my wife because of, you know, it's been stabilized and we can do the two different orientations here very simply, and it's flick up, turn it on, and away you shoot. So that was the initial idea, and I'm still trying to warm her into it. She's not a technology lover like I am, and I really wanted to get proficient with it because I think it can do a lot of things and serve a lot of purposes in her world as well as mine. But I've used it a lot, so interviews, hikes, on vacation, and just general use, like my wife's cake stuff. And there's so much more I want to use it for, but typically it's my go-to camera now. If it's there, I'm going to pick it up and use it as opposed to like my phone or whatever. The low light capability in it is just fantastic. And there's some scenarios where on our vacation to Florida, to the Keys, where we're at a wedding, I'm kicking myself that I didn't use this instead of my phone for certain things. And like, really, I wasn't thinking. A wedding day with 2 kids, and my wife was the maid of honor, so she had her duties to fulfill. I really wasn't thinking straight that I got my phone out for some things when I should have had this, and a lot more footage could have been captured with this, and it would have been absolutely perfect because of its low light capability. Shame on me, I had it with me as well. That's the thing, I had my big photography bag with everything in there that I might need, and I just wasn't thinking straight. The different accessories it comes with, I mean, really the star of the show, I think, is the DJi Mic. So they just released, and this is obviously the second, the DJi Mic 2. They just released it. So as of recording today, they announced this and all the reviews have gone up of the actual official DJi Mic 2 with its case, the receiver, the transmitters, and the new lav mic system. So obviously I've had this for over a month now. Anyone who had the Creator Combo has had this for over a month. And I've been pretty curious. I'm sure a lot of people have. Is like, okay, when's the new version, the full big version of this coming out? And obviously this is the exact same of what you get in the official case. You can even get it in white now. We've had our hands on it and we've been playing around with it for so long. And this has been my go-to mic because it's, you know, you turn it on, it syncs to this straight away, away you go. The audio quality is fantastic. The clip and the magnet on the back is fantastic. The wind muff is great. You've got to put a lav mic in there if you need to, which I'm rocking a lav mic right now into my Anchorworks, but really this would be my go-to, and I'm very tempted when it makes sense to get a second one of these receivers. You can get them for $99 right now, ideally cheaper, so then I can have 2 of them. So then 2 of these compare with this very quickly. I just don't probably have a need for the full mic system, but just having an extra one would be great because you can just hit record and you record. So from this you can actually control the camera. So start and stop recording, cool. And just the audio is fantastic coming out of this. So versatile, so small, and this fluffy thing my son loves, the wind muff, it's great. So I think star of the show, this, obviously the camera itself, and then if we just look at it in its simplest form, small, pocket by name, pocket by nature, right? The accessories you get with it, this silicone case is good. I like it. It's been my primary case for it, and that's how it's essentially started at that point within that, but it's actually pretty tricky to get it exactly the way you want it without dislodging the camera in its little nice snug spot where the camera magnetically clicks in, and then also having the buttons down here line up correctly so it's not overhanging. I like what they did, and I'm glad I got it, and it's been a lifesaver, right, because it's protecting the camera. There's a company called Scotty makes stuff, and I think they're Australian, and I've pre-ordered one of their cases that they designed. It looks like the guy makes 3D printed stuff, and the way he's designed his looks great. Basically, it fits on the bottom, you have a cap that goes on the top, and it has a bunch of mounts around the outside. And mounts is something I'm missing on this thing. I pre-ordered that, haven't got my hands on it yet. I'll actually do a review when I get it, because I think, talked to the company, I said I would do that, because they don't like give out free stuff. They just want their customers to place reviews, because it's someone who's actually spent their own money on it and can give an honest review. So once I get it, I will review it, because it just looks so good. So back to this, I'm glad they have it. It's great that it's there. That's the biggest form with the longest and the feet on the bottom. There's a couple of things, like one, you can't get to the memory card when it's in. Obviously this front part is exposed. No mounting options. It's kind of a bit weird if you're kind of using it as like a mic or like a holder like this, like plopping it in like this, and maybe it's attaching the mic, because the mic can go on the bottom like there. But if you're trying to like use it as a, say, a microphone, it's just a little bit odd, because you're basically facing that to people, and it's the open face, and there's no way of turning this around. That's basically the spot that it's designed for, because there's a little square right here of things, and it lines up with a little square on the top. Fine, great design. It stores this, that, and all this together in one, and you've got your space for your wide angle, which I've never used up until this point, and then the mist filter, which also I don't have, and I probably don't need. Appreciate it, DJi, but there's just more I want from it. There we go. There's that. You get your power bank, which, you know, if you want to buy more of these, you can, because it's not a battery in which you can take out. So this extends your battery, and I've really never had an issue with charging. The fast charging on this is fantastic, but same thing, I've never really needed it. When I've kind of been like, oh, I should probably check the battery on this thing and make sure I'm not going to run out anytime soon, I have plenty. So it's never been an issue with me. And I've done, like the hike I did, I was up and on the hike for maybe 3 to 4 hours, and I got back with plenty of juice left without any issues, without any worries. And I had it recording for like chunks of time. So the battery for me has not been an issue, and I think for most people it's not. And just with this expandable grip that is a battery, buy more if you need more, great, and if you can afford more. And then it has a Q20 in the bottom, which obviously makes it very versatile to mount it to a bunch of stuff, or to put a little deal on here. So the tracking on this thing is great. I learned the hard way with, say, an interview, and I'm just kind of getting better with interviews, and I was really just putting something together for my sister-in-law and brother-in-law for their wedding, where I was speaking to different family members and asking them to say something nice or funny or whatever about the bride and the groom. And for my wife, I tracked her face, and I had it pointed at her, and I thought, okay, let's track her face. That's the right thing to do in this scenario. And she was moving quite a lot. She's kind of animated as she was talking to me. And I noticed as I look back at the footage, like I'm home and I'm editing this video, that it's moving around. And my wife's the maid of honor, my wife's her sister. So I had to include her interview, but the camera's like tracking my wife's face, and it's gone all over the place. So it wasn't the best shot, and I learned the hard way there. And then the next shot was my other sister-in-law, and for some reason I just didn't hit the tracking on there. And it's just a perfectly framed shot. So just don't do tracking when it comes to interviews. It just doesn't make sense. Learned the hard way. But the tracking is great and very versatile. So many things you can do with it. I'm curious to see what other features they add to it with software updates. If they do that, great. If they don't, as it stands right now, it is fantastic. You get a little shorter handle, which is like this big. It's got a USB-C on the back, and a Q20 receiving thread on the bottom. So same thing, you can mount it different ways. So you can even just like put that on something and then take this off, go from one thing to another with it. It's kind of like a quick release system at that point, which now that I've just said that out loud, actually makes a lot of sense and can probably be utilized for a bunch of different things if you think about it the right way, or even if you get more of these or more of the little ones, then you could probably do a little bit more with it. On DJi's website, you can get a little thing that straps around, a little semi-case, you might call it, that then gives you I think it's a cold shoe on the side, and a GoPro mount on the back. And again, I think the Scotty Mic stuff, I think their case does a lot more, but DJi sell that for pretty cheap. I think it's 20, 30 bucks on their website. And I was being tempted to get it a couple of times, but I really want the Scotty Mic stuff one because again, I think it just does more, gives you more mounting options, and you're not worried about either a GoPro mount or a cold shoe. You actually have threads all the way around it. I think 3 different quarter 20 threads, which makes more sense for me. There's a lot of opinions out on the internet about it. Most people positive. They're saying that they love it and how fantastic it is, and that's because it actually generally is a very good camera. People talking about it being the best vlogging camera of the year and the best whatever camera of the year, and yeah, I think it is. I mean, vlogging is not really something I do or I will be doing. Just the general purpose of it, the family life stuff, the adventures that we get on. The negative, let's call this a negative, where I'm kind of worried about this little thing. You know, I've already got a little dink on the back of it up here. You probably can't see it. I was on a hike, it fell over. I've got the care refresh plan on it. I think I've got it for a year. I might extend it just because if you're doing anything that's a little bit more active, if this thing takes a tumble or you take a tumble, then it's not probably going to survive it. It's going to have some issues. The head for sure. And that's why that other case, I'm kind of excited to beef it up a little bit, to give it a little bit more. So then with that said, the other flip side to it is if you're trying to get really steady shots, this thing is really lightweight, like crazy lightweight. So even though it's a gimbal and even though it's stabilized, when you're trying to you have to be really careful with it. You have to be really steady with your hand. You can't just be throwing it around. Even on the slowest settings, the most cinematic settings you can put on this thing, you still have to be cautious and your movements still have to be really smooth. And because it's light, you have to be conscious about it. So a lot of times I've been like doing 2 hands, or I'm going to be adding some stuff to it to give it a little bit more weight, which allows me to kind of get either a better grip or just be more conscious, or even just more weight, so then it's not feeling like so light in my hands that I can, you know, use its weight to its advantage and move it around with a little bit more smoothness to it. So that's just one thing I noticed. Just be intentional with how you're using it. Honestly, there is so many more opinions out on the internet than mine about this product. For me, it was a no-brainer, though I had to convince my wife a little bit, and there's still a little bit of convincing there. But it's just, it does so much, and I just love the fact that the mic is on here. Getting this a month early and playing around with it and utilizing it, just all this together just really adds up to so much more than maybe just the camera by itself, or, you know, if you didn't get the creator combo, you know, and you didn't need it, perfectly fine. But I just think the creator combo comes with so much and adds so much value, and especially, let's just say, for someone like my wife who's not technology savvy, doesn't love technology, wants to try and keep things a little bit more as simple as she can when she's filming her stuff. In my opinion, 1-inch sensor, low light capability is great, and I think the 4K looks fantastic on it. So there is my 2 cents officially. Very happy with this thing, very happy with the adventures I've taken it on, and excited to use it more and get the other case to test that out and see what I think of it. So hope that helps. Any questions, I will answer them in the comments below. I always answer questions. I always get back to any comments, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Take care. Bye.